What's going on, lads and lasses? Apologise for my appearance on today's video. I'm absolutely loaded with the flu. But let's get into, of course, this match preview ahead of the game against Forest at the weekend. Of course, Sunday kickoff for this one, 2 o'clock, and it will be live on Sky Sports. Now, looking at it, it's going to be a very tasty affair, this one. As we take on Ange Postologlu's Nottingham Forest side, who haven't been doing very well at all. I've got a very interesting stat about Forest record on Tyneside, and you'll want to remember this. But let's talk about, of course, our team news first, going into this game to kick it off with. Bad news first, obviously, is that Tino Livramento is out with a knee injury. And he won't be back until late November, unfortunately, after picking up that injury in our game against Arsenal. Johan Wissa is also sidelined until early November now. There's been a setback in his injury and he will not be back until early November now, possibly back around the time of the West Ham or Brentford fixtures. So that is a little bit of an annoying one because we thought we're going to get him back, after that international break coming up in this month in October. But there's been some bright news for Jacob Ramsey. Could be fit enough to make the bench on Sunday, which is a very welcomed option in midfield. To have that lad back in there is a available player to choose from. I'm sure Eddie will be happy with that one. Now over to, of course, the visitors, Nottingham Forest. They have their own injury records, their own injury problems as well. Defender Murillo is a doubt after coming off injured in their Europa League game against Madja, I believe it's pronounced, the Danish side on Thursday. Forest actually led in the game, but ended up losing 3-2 at home. Hardly the preparations that you'd want, to be honest, coming to St James's Park. That's not, I'm sure what the Forest fans will have been wanting. They'll have been wanting some confidence going into this game against us on Sunday. In the league, it hasn't exactly been a flying start for them neither. Just 5 points from 6 games, most of those coming from early in the season when Nuno Espirito Santos was the manager. Since then, things have gone flat away from home. They've drawn 1-1 at Palace and Burnley, but were swept aside by the likes of Arsenal in a 3-0 defeat. And that's not the kind of away form you want, coming to St James's Park, which has been a real fortress of late for us. Now, he has a little subplot, a nice little subplot. Ange Postecoglou, who was, of course, the Spurs manager last season, when, of course, he was in the dugout for Spurs. His trips to St James's Park, a 4-0 hammering and a 2-1 defeat. And now he's in the dugout for Forest. Same stadium, different colours, but he knows just how hard it is to come here and get anything. So if that record continues, that would be good news for us. The match officials for this game are Peter Banks, of course, the Scouse official, presiding over this game. You might remember he was in charge when we played Leeds earlier this season, and only one yellow card apiece that day, of course, when he was the referee. And on VAR, it's Chris Kavanagh, the Manchester official, presiding over the video assistant referee, or VAR for short. And here's that stat I promised you. Forest's recent Premier League visits to St James's Park. It makes good reading if you support Newcastle United. Last season we battered them 4-3 with goals from Lewis Miley, Jacob Murphy and a brace from, of course, the Rat Sack. The season before that we won it 2-0 thanks to Shaw and Wilson. The only blemish on the past 3 games is a 3-1 defeat in the 23-24 season. So overall, we have been in control at home against Forest. So what's the verdict going into this game? Well, Newcastle need a response after recent setbacks, of course. In St James's Park has been a fortress against Forest in the Premier League era, with Bruno pulling the strings, Anthony Gordon stretching defences, and hopefully Jacob Ramsey back in the squad. This is a huge chance, you know, to put 3 more points on the board for us, Geordies. And the question is, do Newcastle bounce back strong, or do Forest spring a shock on us, Geordies, on Sunday? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this one has goals written all over it. And it's going to be an interesting one to see. Chrissy Wood back at St James's Park again. He had a pretty good game a few seasons ago, of course, the 23-24 season, I believe it was, when he had that crazy game against with and Elliot Anderson, of course, returning to St James's Park as well. But hopefully we can spoil the party for their returns to St James's Park, and of course get the 3 points on the board and help us progress further up the table, because we need to start getting the points on the board. And it, like I say, it is a bit of a nuisance that, you know, we don't have our 55 million striker in Johan Wissa available to it to be able to play. That, you know, would be a different matter then, you know, because we'd have that player there in Wissa. Obviously, we've got Nick Valdemara, who has scored 3 goals in his past games, so he is getting goals, but it is obviously going to take time for the lad to settle in here. And, you know, like I said in the match reaction for the Union SG game, I thought we did really well in that game. I thought Nick Valdemara played very well in that game. Anthony Gordon was an absolutely amazing player in that game as well. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you all for the match reaction of the game, of course, against Forest on Sunday. Till next time, see you all, and how well, lads.